Hi, I'm Danielle Radojcin, and thank you for joining me on this episode. Today I'm in talks with the American artist Scott Covert, whose iconic paintings of celebrity graves have become a life's journey. Scott grew up in New Jersey, New York in the 50s, and then spent time as an actor before finding his calling as an artist and denizen of the vibrant New York art, fashion and nightlife scene of the 1980s. Now he has his first ever solo show at Studio Voltaire in South London, where I went to meet him to talk about life on the road and being a survivor.
I like London. I really do like London.
What do you like about it?
The people. They're so polite.
You've been here a lot in the past?
I was here in like 1980. I was living here in WC1 somewhere. And I was here to go to Belfast. And there was I forget the name of it was a BOAC. It's a British Airways that has the diamond flights because it was inland.
Right.
And every morning it was like we were punks at that. Every morning I wake up and have a hangover. It's like, I just can't go today. I just can't go today. And I'll go tomorrow. And then I did that like two mornings. I just didn't go. And the third morning I woke up and I said, I'll go. I'll get up. I didn't want to go, but I'll go. Because I could go the next day too. It was that part of the week where it was cheaper. And I went. And I came back and the next day the plane crashed. And everybody in the smoking section lived. So I would have been alive.
Oh my God. God, those are the days, right? Why were you going to Ireland?
Bobby Sands. It was in Belfast. It's a Milltown cemetery.
So you travel around. First of all, I wanted to ask you about the title of this show here, C'est la vie. Is that the title of your choosing, and is there some like dark, ironic humour going on there?
I always like C'est la vie. I always use the name The Dead Supreme for my shows because it's all about the Dead Supreme. But my friend Stella had a baby and I taught him how to say, he's like 18 months old, and he'll go, C'est la vie now. I taught him how to do it. I thought, that's a good name for a show. This is life. You know, and that was life, or something like that. So
your work features a technique called grave rubbing. So for this podcast, can you talk about the technique and what it involves?
What I do is I create a printing press, and I have to sneak into these cemeteries. I make a printing press in the middle of a cemetery. I put the canvas right on the stone, and with pressure, I get it with an oil stick onto the canvas. And my paintings, I think of them as abstract work that I wanted to incorporate modern technology into the process. I wanted to be a 21st century painter. And so I thought, well, if I use famous people, they will know that I had to go to Switzerland for Chanel. I had to go to Barcelona for Balenciaga. I have to go to Sky Island for Alexander McQueen. I have to go to Paris for Oscar Wilde. You get it. You see that I have to travel, so you see these great big things of color, like in the show.
So the travel becomes part of the
it is,
work.
Yeah, it's very much part of. It's my whole life, and I've really dedicated. This is what I do. I'm old, you know. I've done a lot that I don't need to do again, like have a relationship or anything. Like, you know, just like I'm fine. Let me just go get in my car and drive.
Can you talk a bit about so there's a kind of love of celebrity here.
What?
You love the celebrities you just said are an important part of it. The person's got to be...
Because you know the location. If I used any Tom, Dick, or Harry, you could think you just went to one cemetery and did it. But if I use Groucho Marx, that's a certain area of Los Angeles, opposed to Rita Hayworth in Culver City. So I had to use a car to get from one to the other. So that's a part of making the painting. I love it when I have to use jets and I go to Moscow, or I would,
tell me a story of like what's the kind of really memorable. I mean, they must. I'm sure because they're such famous people, so many of them are memorable. But what's one that particularly sticks in your mind?
I don't know. They all do. Was the Flow, the first grave I went to the Dead Supreme. I wanted to go to Florence's grave. And I went to her grave and I put a piece of paper on. And when I did that, I wanted to do a grave rubbing, then I went to Florence's grave. And when I did it, it moved. So I had to I ruined it, but I only had so many pieces of paper. So I got another color. And I did it with another color. So I thought, oh, this is a really good drawing.
Do you often do more than one? You do several?
It's a printing press.
It's a printing press. I like the way that some of them look. You can see that now that you explain they move. When I see the images in the show next door, you can see that some of them have got a slightly almost like a blurred photographic quality, which adds this nice patina to it.
Right, depth.
Depth. Yeah,
it gives it depth, and I like it to have many different. I guess it's textures. It's like
I read that it was like
painting is, and then there's this new stuff on top of it.
Yeah. Do you sometimes reuse things then? Because I saw
some of those paintings, which I just consider to finish now, I started in 1996.
Is that why some of them have got more than one name on them?
Yeah, because I keep on traveling. It's like, did you see what I have here? I have like 6 suitcases.
Oh no, I didn't see.
I got nuts. I'm going to Europe.
I was reading about this technique of grave rubbing, and it was originally a Victorian thing, right?
Yeah, in the United States, we did it in the colonial. I grew up in New Jersey. It was a colonial thing, so it was all those colonial graves. So we would do it.
Oh, you did it at school?
Oh, yeah, like in 6th grade, I did it. And went back.
There's there's a sort of slightly punk element to what you do. Is it legal? Are you allowed to?
No. I can't get in trouble for doing it, but the cemeteries can get in trouble for letting me do it.
So what are the rules around it? So what happens? You rock up in a grave.
I was just at Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram.
And I was just at Amy Winehouse, and when we were there, the groundskeeper was coming by, and he says, "Are you meant to do that?" And I thought, "Yeah."
And they didn't say anything else?
He thought that I was doing it for the family or something. And 45 minutes later, he came back, and I brought 9 pieces with me because I had to carry it all. I didn't have a car. And
that was in broad daylight?
Yeah, it's always in broad daylight. And he kicked me out.
Because they close at night?
Yeah, they close at 3:45, this one. And he kicked me out. I had to leave, but I finished it, so it was time to go anyway.
So why did he kick you out? Because he thought you were... Because it was closing time?
I'm disrespectful. I think
dodgy?
I'm disrespectful.
Okay.
And I'm not disrespectful, and I made the grave look better. Because people were just throwing things down. I don't take anything away, but I rearrange it because I have to move it to do the work sometimes. So I always make it look better. Better, but my way. It's nice.
Yeah. I saw you went to William Blake's.
That was a nice grave to go to. A little cold, so I have a hard time.
But his gravestone is in the middle of... It's not in a cemetery anymore,
No,
right?
it is in a cemetery. It's that... I don't know the name of it, but...
Okay.
It's up but near Old Street Station.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's in that area.
How do you find out about these things, and where... Do you just Google it now?
Now
back in the day, you would have had to have gone do some proper research.
People like to hear this story. When I was... I would go spend the day at the New York Public Library, which is a beautiful place to spend the day, and I would find out the funeral homes, do all the obituaries and find out the funeral homes. And then I would call up the funeral homes and tell people I was Liza Minnelli's assistant.
Why is that going to work?
Because they get excited to let you know they're working with Liza. But I would say it because I'd be at somebody's house. Assistant with a Z. I mean,
have you done Judy Garland's? Oh, you have done Judy Garland. She's in the show.
Yeah, I did old Judy, and then they moved her from New York City, where Frank Sinatra brought her grave. Said, "Here, Liza, get your mother a grave." They brought her to Hollywood Forever. That it's like a zoo almost. It was an old, beautiful cemetery in Hollywood, and somebody bought it for $250,000.
Who bought it?
A funeral company.
Oh, right.
So they've turned it, it's all movie stars now.
Yeah.
So in one great big area, there's a wall, and it's Judy, and there's some empty spaces, probably Liza, Lorna, Joey. And, but all around it are these glass for the columbarium. It's in a room, a major columbarium room. And you can have your ashes in the same room as Judy for $150,000.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're just making the money. Big upper. And I think they give stars a really big, give it for free so they can.
And are there like tourist tours?
I'm sure you'll be paying to go in there soon.
I mean, since we're talking about, I remember when I went.
That's where Dee Dee Ramone is.
Okay.
And Johnny Ramone and Holly Woodlawn. A lot of people there in that cemetery, but the important ones, Holly is in there.
Holly Woodlawn.
Yeah.
So that's from. Did you know Holly?
Yeah, I used to do plays with her in New York after her superstar days with Warhol. She still lived.
Yeah.
And Scott Whitman and Mark Shaman, they did that show here, Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. They have they did hairspray. Well, back in the Club 57 days, we were doing small little plays, and Holly would be.
Because you wanted to be an actor originally.
I was.
You were an actor.
I was an actor.
So hang on, you grew up in Edison, New Jersey.
Ran away from home.
Right, like big city. Why did you run away?
I wasn't fun there. I'm old. It was back in the 60s. They weren't nice to faggots.
So New York, and decided you wanted to become an actor, and you got involved in the theatre scene there?
In San Francisco, I started. I ran away from, I lived in New York City. I had the relationship worked out with my family. But I had an apartment in New York City. I lived 35 minutes from the city. And just over the bridge. I wrote about it in Ursula magazine. I led a wild life. All I did was go out dancing every night. From punk. I worked at CBGB, selling Budweisers in the back.
Oh my God, that must have been.
Tom Verlaine. The whole New York City is crying for Tom Verlaine right now. I was talking to Kate Simon, the photographer. Just, oh my God, Tom Verlaine died. It was a big thing in the city. I didn't know her and him and Patti Smith were lovers.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were lovers. Before.
Did you know Patti?
Not really. I've met Patti, but I don't know her really. I would like to know her. She was a big influence on me. But I don't worry about things like that. If our paths shall cross, she's in a cemetery somewhere in Delaware and I run into her, it'd be nice.
Wait, dead or alive?
No, I want her to live. I want her to live. Yeah.
Okay, so it must have been.
Didn't finish the story.
Yeah, no, tell the story because it sounds amazing. Story? So you moved you went to New York. You're working at CBGB's.
All kinds of places.
All over.
We did Club 57. It was a church basement. We did something every night.
And was this theatre?
Yeah. We did everything. Keith Haring came out of there. Jean-Michel hung out there. Kenny Scharf, the painter. Every night was a different night. Keith would show his paintings. So we did plays. The guys who became Hairspray. We would do these plays, and Holly and I would work she was part of it. And it was actually a lot of fun. It was like community theater. We could sell drinks because we were in a church basement, so we were with a church youth group. So we could sell drinks for $1. This is 1977, 78. This is back then.
So this is way after she'd been dropped by Warhol.
What? Oh, she wasn't dropped. They just weren't making movies anymore.
Okay.
They all had their issues, but you know what? He did them well.
Yeah.
I got Valerie Solanas. Did you see that? Just in the.
I did actually. Yeah. Yeah. Where's she buried?
In Maryland, in the churchyard cemetery. Yeah. Which I thought was cute.
When did you do that? Did you do that?
Like in the last 2 years.
Oh right,
like 2 years ago. Yeah.
So
she just died.
Yeah. Oh really? Oh, right. What was tell me, what was Holly like?
Crazy Latina. She was just a lot of fun, serious, but red wine. It was fun with her. I would visit her when she moved to LA. I escaped to New York and I was living in California for 10 years, which was a lot of fun. for me, because it was all cemeteries. They're all there.
So talk a bit about how you first... Is there a story with Cookie Mueller and getting into how she told you to...
So when I went to the Deaths of Him and I did Flo's grave, with the mix-up, I showed it to Cookie, but I think I went to Billie Holiday first before I showed it to her because... And she said, you gotta quit acting, this is what you gotta do, you gotta focus on this one.
How did you meet Cookie?
Just she was in those movies and we'd all be in nightclubs, so I knew who she was, and then...
I had good drugs. Yeah. I'm trying to get a good sense of what it was like being alive there then. It's like I'm getting this vicarious...
It was just, everybody was just friends hanging out. There was only a small group of people in New York at that time. Now it's, it's on television, but back then...
So who were your closest pals? Cookie?
Andy Reese, the manager, Ann Magnuson, Club 57, Frank Holiday, the painter, Cookie, Rene Ricard, Edith Diak was a friend of mine. And I ran around with fashion people.
Tell me about the fashion people.
There's Saskia Angers, Saskia Kelderman. She was incredible. She was a fashion editor. She started working for, who was that lady? Would be so crazy at Vogue. And then
was it Carrie Donovan at Vogue?
No, before Carrie Donovan.
Diana Breland?
No. My first boyfriend worked for Diana Breland.
Oh, right. Who was your first boyfriend?
Richard Hartenstein. He was a makeup artist. And he came from Pennsylvania. His father owned a mortician. And so he came with makeup of dead people.
Okay.
And he went to the show to Diana Breland and she said, you're hired.
I love that.
Because it was all the dead faces that he did. He didn't want to go back into funeral homes.
That's amazing. Wow.
New Freedom, Pennsylvania he was from. But what were we talking about?
Fashion people were hanging at Club 57.
I got Gia. Nancy Spungen I knew.
Really?
Yeah. Junkies.
Yeah, right, okay.
I'm sober 26 years.
I'm spotting a theme here, yeah, okay. Gia, so when that was a sad story, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what's really weird? I knew them both. They were both heroin addicts. And they're buried 15 minutes away from each other.
In New York?
In Pennsylvania.
Oh, right.
They were both in Pennsylvania. They did that Alex Cox film. They made her seem stupid. She was much smarter than what she was. Rough, but
who was she?
Sid and Nancy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. What did you just say, Alex?
Alex Cox, the filmmaker, did.
Oh, I see the filmmaker. Sorry. Yeah. No, I
They made her seem stupid.
Yeah.
And she wasn't stupid.
No, she's always portrayed as this evil villainess who kind of led
great sense
Sid
of humor.
astray.
She had a great sense of humor, and she was very sarcastic, and she used many references that you had to be raised in the United States because it was our cartoons and or whatever shows we grew up with or things. She was really sarcastic, which we were all at that point. Club 57, Ann Magnuson, we interpreted things from the past.
So was heroin really the drug then? Was it not more?
Oh, I think it always has been.
Really?
But it was much better then than it is now.
So, how did you get out?
I moved to California. I did a geographical. I said, I can't do this. Oh, I started smoking crack, and that's what fucked me up.
When you were still in New York?
Yeah.
God, how did you stop?
I moved to California and started smoking pot. I started smoking a lot of pot, which I never did. And so...
Do you feel like a survivor?
I am a survivor. Yeah. I've lived through AIDS in New York City and never got it. I was so insane. I was just mentioned to somebody the last time I saw Klaus Nomi. He was wearing a hoodie, and there was all
Klaus Nomi.
Yeah, he had all these scars. The sarcomas were all over his face, and we just looked at each other and cried. We didn't say a word. It was right by 1 Fifth Avenue on 8th Street. We just and we went on our way. It got to that. Every morning you look to see if you had it.
The paranoia.
And then, so why not do heroin? Why not get it really?
Yeah.
I'm going to die any day now. It's going to happen to me. And that's what happened to me with the drugs.
It's amazing that you managed to get out and move.
I'm a survivor. I really am.
And did you keep friends from that time, or was it just a clean...
Most of them are dead. Honestly, Frank Holiday's alive. I mean, no, Robert Hawkins is alive. I mean, there's, of course, but it just seems like everybody died. But I do have, I have friends from back then that I'm not talking to for other reasons.
Okay, beef. And so do you feel nostalgic for that time? Do you get misty-eyed? Are you a nostalgic person? Or
No, I don't even think about it. I mean, I'm sick of talking about it.
It's just everyone else that wants to look
I like now.
I was watching Todd Haynes' Velvet Underground documentary last night, which I hadn't seen yet, about the Velvet Underground.
Nico's buried in Germany. I would see her, but she was older than me, and at that point I really wasn't hanging out downtown. It was more around the Deuce, 42nd, that kind of stuff, having my life that way. But then we come downtown, and I was introduced to found myself in the downtown. I was always going to nightclubs, too. You meet people in nightclubs. Le Jardin was a great one back in the 70s. A Sanctuary. There was good clubs. They're all gone. And it was a smaller group of people. Now it's just everywhere.
Well, and so since you moved out west, and then since then you've kept working and traveling.
Oh, I went through 9/11 out there. I went through the 2008, the 2008 collapse out there. Mm-hmm. I had a great apartment in Beverly Hills, and I lost it because of that. That economic crisis.
The remortgaging.
Thing. Yeah.
Where did you live?
In the flats of Beverly Hills, 3 blocks behind the Peninsula Hotel. I had a 3-bedroom apartment, 2-car garage, living room, dining room, kitchen for $2,400 a month. It was like, nice. It was good. And in that same complex of 4 apartments, the back apartment where Leslie lived is where we were always told. I wasn't there. Well, it was Loretta Young's building. I was on Young Drive. It was Loretta Young's building. And the trees that she talks about, the fruit trees that she talked about that she planted in one of her autobiographies, would be out in the backs, which was always fun for me.
So are you captive? Do you love the romance of Hollywood?
What is that?
Do you love the romance of
I like
Hollywood?
the old days. You show me Betty Davis clip, or I don't care for the new. I don't go to the movies. I don't know how to operate those machines, that you have at home now.
So you're not not Netflix streaming?
No, I don't. I did see some of those shows, but I have to watch it to the end.
Where do you live now?
I guess New York, Harlem.
I have your suitcases that here. Because when I spoke to Megan, who is looking after the press for your show, and I said, "Oh, how long is Scott staying?" And she said, "Oh, indefinitely."
Yeah. Well, it's a little cold, but I have friends in Fleury outside of Paris that I can go stay with, and I have all this luggage. I was coming to Europe. I packed too much.
Père Lachaise is a great cemetery. It must be great for...
Yeah, it's not my favorite in Paris, but
Oh, what's a better one in Paris?
I like Montmartre.
Okay.
I like Montmartre. But now I want to... we went up to Rimbaud, we went to Schiaparelli, we went to some really good ones in northern France. And
so do you plan trips around graves? Or
I have an idea where I'm going. I have an idea where I'm going. Mm-hmm. And I want to go up to Poland, and I can't think of his name, but the one Polish guy that was killed by the Manson family. It begins with an F. So I'm seeing who's along the way, what's there.
But he's the final...
He's the goal, to get him. So I have all the Manson... I have everybody murdered by the Mansons with the cast of The Wizard of Oz. So I want to get him. Jonas Mekas is maybe along the way, and of course there's that Polish general that slips my mind. I'm old.
But you'll have one endpoint in mind, and then build other graves around it.
Yeah, and I'll find out who's in Poland and who these people are, who are the local entertainers that I wouldn't know who they are, but are important to people in Poland. So I get paintings all over Poland. So I will have paintings that are just, murdered by the Mansons, or I'll put them on things that I want. It's north of Warsaw, Poland, on the canvas. And then I see what it looks like. So I know if I'm getting a color field, because it's engraved and it's big, like Blake, or this little tiny thing. Or, yeah, those little tiny things. I'm looking for those. But he's a big thing. And then the reliefs, the ones that come out that really capture the color, like Khrushchev.
Do you take commissions?
My father loves this one. Would you put my father on here? I do it like that, or I just do, names for, just one name for the family, and I do my squares around it, which takes around 40, 50 hours.
So cool. Thanks, Scott.
It was fun talking to you.
I enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too boring for you to have to relive stories.
No, we talked about other things. We talked about other things, and we came to the same things in a different way.
Yeah. You've been listening to In Talks with me, Danielle Radojcin. The sound and theme music is by Woolby Productions, and the artwork is by Patrick Wall. If you enjoyed this episode, please pass it on to someone who you think might also like it. Please subscribe and leave a review. To pitch for guest ideas, you can DM me via my socials at Danielle Radojcin. Thanks for listening.